Out of nowhere, question of the week. Going to my guy, Mr. Nitram. What's going on, bro? How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. I've been
Yeah,
making a
man.
lot of quizzes.
After that, we got 3 count trivia coming up, which we will talk about towards the end of the show. But my question to you tonight, man, is I've been seeing a lot of people in this war lately of attendance and ticket sales and hard cam seating. My question to you, man, is should fans worry about stuff like that? Should we be arguing that there's not enough attendance or there's not enough fans sitting in one certain section, so a show might suck or might not be better than another promotion?
I think people worry about the wrong things. We should be worried if I'm not saying if a company is not selling out these smaller arenas and stuff like that. Yeah, we should be worried, but we shouldn't be down talking it. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
people are like, "Oh, look at all these empty seats." Like that's the issue. We don't want empty seats. We want people to be able to go to these live wrestling experiences and experience great wrestling. You know, whether it's WWE, AEW, TNA, NXT, um, MLW, you know, any of these shows, GCW, any of these shows, because at the end of the day, if no one is going to the attendance, you know, yeah, they make their deal off networking and all this other stuff like that. But if you're not worried about the attendance, like that's a big part of it. That's a big part of whether they go to your city or not, you know. And I mean, we grew up in a town or in a city for the most part that never got shows. And
Mm-hmm.
we always understood that we had to drive hours, you know, an hour. I shouldn't say hours. We had to drive like an hour out, an hour and a half out to go to some shows because our attendance in our city would not have been good. So I do think people should be worried about attendance. Attendance does matter. I hate when people are like, "Oh, well, that doesn't matter. I'm just trying to enjoy good wrestling." Yes, I understand that, but it's hard to enjoy good wrestling if they take that product off. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like people used to be like, "Oh, NXT didn't have that issue." NXT used to film at Full Sail University. I mean, you talked about how smart that was because they had a constant crowd every single week. They didn't have to sell out a stadium. They had a constant, continuous crowd, whether it was small or not. They knew their limits. You know, now they're going on the road. But if they're going on the road and people are like, "Oh, look how many empty seats are in NXT," we shouldn't be gloating about that. We should be like, "What can they do to increase ticket sales?" Because the wrestling's not the issue, the talent is not the issues. You know what I mean? So it's more of us just being so toxic. I don't like a product, so I'm not going to support their show in my city. That's so dumb. If you can get a ticket for 45, 60, $70 and you have it and you love wrestling, go to the show. Sit in those seats that people always taking pictures of. You know what I mean? That's
Mm-hmm.
just how I think we worry about the wrong thing. We should be worried about attendance, but not to bash it. Don't use it as a weapon. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's to me, that's the wrong part of it.
Right. You know what? I can honestly agree with you. I think you hit it right there on the button too. Like how you spoke about NXT, filming at Full Sail.
Mhm.
Just doing that. Let's collect all the money we can and tell the students to come and just support us and come watch it. And I think if you go back to early NXT when they did the switch, I think for the first maybe 6 months you could spot the same maybe 20, 30 guys, the guys or girls there. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
just consistent fans, like you said. I think a lot of people know AEW started up off a t-shirt business, so just using that and I think, and I agree with you, man. I think we shouldn't be gloating that the fact that a promotion like AEW is not selling out their seats on the hard cam side or whatever the case might be, and same for WWE because sometimes you see it too at house shows where they're not all selling out, and sometimes you can see NXT is not always sold out, and sometimes Raw and SmackDown's not always sold out. But I think also you're right too. When you live in a city that's a smaller city and it's not a wrestling city, it's hard. It's really hard to try to um, attract to those fans. You know what I mean? To try
Mhm.
to say, hey, I'm gonna do this, but we can only have 5,000 people. Oh, that's it, just 5,000. Like if I can't get in, I can't get in. You're gonna have upset fans because they couldn't get in. So I get it. But hey, we got a lot to talk about. It's Cody the Answer. We have a new Intercontinental Champion that I want to talk to you about. And you got a little bit of Trick Williams, but not too much Trick Williams this week. But let's go ahead and start our show.
Four sides of the ring, four sides of the ring. Everybody out here got an opinion, your ego should die in the ring. If the debate's getting heated, we heating, you know it's been fire in the ring. pride in the sling. Four sides of the ring.
Here we go. I was like, oh, what's going on? What's going on, Ringside? It's your favorite faction is back. I'm
Dude,
your
I was ready
host.
to go solo, bro. I was like, all right, I guess Marcus done quit on me. Guys, let's talk about this Roman Reigns character.
I'm your host, the founder, Marcus Hernandez. I am with Nick Ram, and that's all we're with, ladies and gentlemen. Chano could not be here with us. He got called into work last minute, and Brandy Savage is still in New York City enjoying his time with his family. But what is going on, Nick Ram? How are you, man?
I'm good, man. You know,
Coming off coming off COVID for the first time, right?
yeah, it was bad. It was bad, bro.
It's kicking your ass.
Pe- Yeah, it was like one of those things where I was like, man, it can't be as bad as people say. And then like day 3, I was like, oh man, I think this is it for me. I started writing my will. I was like, yeah, this is as far as I can get.
True, I feel that. I hear that. I've had COVID 3 times, so I definitely know how you're feeling. Um, the first time was probably the worst. The second and third time wasn't too bad. So, but yeah, at least you're better. You
Yeah,
can talk now. You got your voice back. You can do everything that you need to be doing in the outside world. Isolating yourself is kind of crazy, right? Not be able to go out.
dude, that it's like the weird. It's ironic because Brandon went to New York, so I didn't like. I technically still had my whole apartment to myself. Like I didn't have to worry about getting him sick.
Right.
And then like I was like, man, I was like, I can't go to the store. I do my flipping. I can't do no video games. I was like, what am I gonna do? And I looked at my PS5 and I was just like, hello, old friend. And you know me, I'm not a big, video game collector myself. I started with 2 games, and I think right now I have like 17 PS5 games now. In
Nice.
the short order of COVID, I went real crazy and kept myself entertained.
Oh, yeah, we gotta keep yourself entertained between the wrestling and everything else that you could do in between. But let's go ahead and start let's start this wrestling talk, man. Let's talk Cody Rhodes. I want to know if he's truly the answer. One, let's start. We weren't on last week, and we truly apologize for not being on. Just real life things have hit all of us hard, so we had to just handle real life business. But 2 weeks ago, Cody Rhodes said he wasn't going to interfere. That this was Roman Reigns' problem. That same week, he said, "You know what? I am going to do this with Roman." They met at the 50-yard line at Georgia Tech University. Um, man, Nate was this Cody's like best promo since he's been on in the WWE?
In the WWE, yeah, 100%. I thought you were gonna say it was his best promo. I was gonna be like, no. Um, in WWE, yeah, and Cody is a fabulous promo. He really is. He's someone that, and I make fun of him all the time. I'm like, oh, he's a I'm a say this and then start crying when I mention my dad kind of promo.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't give him enough credit. He is an amazing promo. They did the cinematic work with a lot of it in this
Yeah,
time, and I know a lot of people didn't like it. I love cinematic stuff. I think if we're in a world of disbelief, like this worked so perfectly well, and it's the first time I think since he won the title that I've actually been interested in Cody Rhodes. So they're doing something right.
is it that you're interested in Cody Rhodes or you're interested in Roman Reigns being back?
I honestly think it's Cody Rhodes. I think Roman being back was, inevitable. He was gonna come back. He was gonna own his family. That's his family. He's the tribal chief. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think Cody had to kind of like ride that back tail because he had no momentum going. But like for the
Right.
first time, I'm actually interested in Cody Rhodes. And if that's because of Roman Reigns, that's fine. I just hope the only time Cody's ever interesting isn't just with Roman Reigns. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like I don't want to be like when this is all said and done and Roman's finally fighting Jacob Fatu for the 6th time or whatever. And he's just sitting there and Cody's like backstage fighting. I don't know who's still backstage. Alpha Academy or something. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah, I agree with you. I really do feel like this is Cody's best promo since he's been on the E. Just literally killed it. I got your back if you got my back. The tribal chief giving him his word. I got your back. Man, you think The Rock was watching this, and as soon as they agreed, the gentleman agreement, The Rock was like, oh hell nah, this ain't happening. Y'all not tag teaming together. You think The Rock might show up at Bad Blood?
I do, because I think it all circles back to that one moment where they swapped titles and The Rock leaned in and whispered something to him.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone was like, "Oh, what did he say?" I think they're gonna make it clear as day. The Rock said, "Not Roman, not Solo, me." I think The Rock is clearly The Rock got a lot of pull, bro. He gonna get that title one more time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. So you think this might be leading into The Rock finally turning on Roman, like everybody has probably been saying since The Rock has put his face on this storyline.
Yeah, for sure. Like this is the match that they wanted originally. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like they were willing to cancel Cody's whole Royal Rumble win for this. Like this is what they wanted. So yeah, I
Right.
think this is still happening.
You think this tag team match is we're actually gonna get a pinfall, or is this gonna be a no contest? Do you think the Tangaloa brothers might come out and wreak some havoc? You think I mean, there's the rest of the bloodline can come out. We could probably even see a Jimmy. He's got a lot of things going on too. It's his little brother. It's his oldest
Hmm.
cousin, the guy that put money and food on the table for his family. Jay Uso is also going to be probably at the pay per view as well, but he's
The
got a
other
whole new thing
Tungas,
going on.
the other Tunga brothers officially on the roster. I don't know if you saw that.
I did. Kirlu, if I hope I'm saying that right.
Yeah, apparently they're
Um,
changing his name. He's gonna be a Tunga as well.
really,
But yeah, they put
didn't his
his
father?
actual name,
He's not
but
just going to use his father's name.
no, apparently not. Apparently he because the other
Huh.
two are Tungas, so they're gonna be Tungas. They're all three of them will be Tungas.
Okay, I mean, it makes sense.
Right.
Kayfabe wise, it makes sense. I could agree with that. I like that. But yeah, I saw that that he's there. I saw that he was training. What he's like 6'4", 6'5". Dude's big.
Yeah, he's tall.
Uh, and he'll probably be better than, is it Tangaloa? No, Tangaloa is the good one, right?
Bro, stop disrespecting the Gorillas of Dynasty, bro. They're doing exactly what they're supposed to do and get people talking.
They're definitely doing their job. You can't. I'm not gonna argue with you there. They're definitely doing their job. I don't know. It's just I don't know. We'll see what's going on. But yeah. So we got maybe The Rock. Finally turning on his family, saying Solo's not the tribal chief. He's just been doing it for me since I've been gone, doing my movies, doing my TV shows, whatever the case might be with The Rock. But now he might be back. So who knows? Who really knows? Do you see this feud carrying on to War Games? So Cody Rhodes might not be defending his title till after Survivor Series.
Yeah, so the War Games is exactly where I've been fantasy booking this too. And
Okay.
and I had it like all planned out in my head. And then apparently there's news that Zila Fatu has signed an AEW deal. So he ruined my entire fantasy booking. Whether that's true or not, I actually didn't even double check it. I just seen it on Twitter and I was like, damn it. I needed him on my fantasy booking that no one listens to. Um But yeah, no, I think it's War Games. My problem with War Games is that I don't want Cody to be on the team. And it's not because, well, it's two reasons actually. One, Cody is champion. And if he's going to be on War Games, unless he's putting his title on the line with his whole team, which would be, the bloodline, which is why I don't like it, because it's like I don't like that at all. Like you're not part of the bloodline. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? But it's unless he's putting that title on the line, he needs to have his own match.
Hmm.
Like Cody needs to start standing out. And he has not done that. He didn't do it with AJ Styles. I think that's the only real feud he had, and I didn't even think they really stood out like that. He needs to start standing out. And like I said, this is the first time I'm actually interested in him. I hope this leads somewhere, whether it's a
Right.
solo match with anyone doing anything. Like let him break free from this bloodline curse, and Roman's like, we got it now. But yeah, man, you do the 4 or 5 man, however they want to do it. But the way I fantasy booked it, man, is simple. It was Roman recruits Jimmy. He gets Paul Heyman back, sends Paul Heyman to Raw. Paul convinces Sami, not Jay. That's the big kick right there. The Bloodline jumps Sami. KO comes out. KO gets his ass beat because someone has to get their ass beat to no return. Let it be KO. Jay comes out for the save. And Jay's like, you're messing with my brother. Which leads him to join it. And then, of course, you have the Tongaloas plus the new one, Jacob Fatu. And you have Solo leading them, which led me down to like, who was the fifth man? See, the way I would have did it was the fifth man was going to end up being like, oh, yeah, it'd be cool. Paul Heyman was like, I'll fight for you, my tribal chief, and starts rolling up his sleeves, and he's ready to be the fifth man. And they're like, nah, man, we got this. This is a family matter, so we called family. And it would have been a perfect debut for Ziggler. I just think it would have been perfect for him if they would have booked him up. But no, apparently he's on the other brand now, so my fantasy booking's way out the window.
Who knows? Maybe somebody put that out there to like kind of throw you off a little bit. I like that. I like that fantasy booking that you created there. Is interesting.
I mean, throw Paul Heyman in the match. I mean, they can just go that route. True. Paul Heyman gets the pin.
Paul Heyman pop-up powerbomb on Solo for the pin. It has to be Paul Heyman getting the pin so he can get his face back for getting put through a commentary table.
That's what I'm saying, bro. He's like, I'll fight for my tribal chief, and he starts the match. Just straight up gets obliviated.
But no, yeah, you know what, I like that, and to add to your fantasy booking, I would say if that was the case, then you would have to have Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns win at Bad Blood, and then when Survivor Series is coming through and they're looking for that fourth guy, you could have Cody be like, "Oh, let me help," and Roman could finally tell him like, "Nah, bro, this is not your business. Like, you helped me the first time, I don't need your help this time. I got my bloodline. Like, I have my family, and I know who I need to do." And I like the fact that you said, he sends Paul Heyman to go get Sami, and not Jay, because Sami could probably convince Jay to like, hey, we need to do this. I like that. I like that a lot.
Oh, dude, I got it. Instead of Ziggler, bro, it's The Rock, and that's when The Rock turns, and New Bloodline wins. See, that's it. That's it, man. Paul Heyman's almost wrapped, and then you just hear, "Do you smell?" And then boom, there it is.
Right. The Rock automatically turns. There's rumors that a third hour might be coming to SmackDown for the time being. You think that's a good idea, or do you think it's going to hurt the brand?
Dude, I hate 3-hour wrestling. It's so hard for me to watch Raw. And because we hit that 2-hour mark, bro, and it's like they're like stretching. You know what I mean? It's stretching. Mm-hmm. And people always make the argument, oh, you get more talent on the screen. I get that. Like, that's awesome. But also, like, you don't have to have the same characters on TV every week. You know what I mean? Perfect example, NXT. They used to get an hour show on the network, and I would see the champion one week, and then they'd be like, yeah, he'll be back in 3 weeks from now. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. What else you got then? And like, it was like every week was a different storyline going on, but it worked. Like, obviously it doesn't need to be that extreme, but I'm saying, like, dude, I hate 3-hour shows, man. I never make it to the main event on Raw. I always catch it the next day. It just drags at a certain point. And once the show starts dragging, I am off it.
No, I totally agree with you. I think 3 hours is a little bit of a drag, and you can kind of tell like they're trying to do too much. Like, oh, this segment's lasted way too long. Like, we could be doing something else. We could be, or like this segment was way too long and it sucked, and the match before that was incredible and they only had 5 minutes. Could have gave us a little bit more wrestling. But I do agree with you. I think a third hour would be kind of bad for SmackDown, because we've kind of been so used to the 2-hour SmackDown show. I mean, our entire existence, especially I think for wrestling. I don't think SmackDown has ever ran 3 hours.
They had like specials and stuff like that.
And stuff like that. Yeah, definitely right about that. But on a weekly basis, a 3-hour show on SmackDown on a Friday night, I don't know. I was kind of iffy about it. Collision on Saturday nights. Like, people want to go out on Saturday nights, and they don't have time to be watching wrestling. So I mean, it might work for them. It might not. And I think when they make the jump to Netflix too, I think Raw should just stick to 2 hours. I think you could get enough story and enough wrestling within the 2 hours. And that third hour, like you said, man, it just drags sometimes. And sometimes you I want to get to this main event because the main event's good. It's going to be a great main event. And then you like you said, man, sometimes you just can't get to it. 10, 20, you're like, damn, there's still I still got 30 minutes before this main event comes on.
You
I'm
know, and it's
yawning.
like imagine Netflix having 3-hour Raw and you pay for the no commercials. Like, you
Oh
know how
yeah,
bad that's gonna drag? You're
the
gonna
promo
see
work would be
everything, bro.
ridiculous.
I don't even like picture to picture commercials because I'm still watching. Like, I don't get my break, my little mental break of seeing the Domino's guy come up for commercials. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, oh man, they're doing a
I
headlock
wonder
for
how
3 minutes.
I wonder how the ads are going to work for Netflix when Raw switches over. Are we just going to get like previews of their new movies that are coming out? Their new
It's all
shows
gonna.
dropping.
It's gonna be like, and we'll be back from our commercial break this season on the Circle.
Yeah.
WWE star The Miz catfishes as his wife.
It'd be interesting. But speaking about SmackDown, I want to talk about two specific wrestlers. One you truly love, and you adore watching him, and we got to see him live, professionally and on the indie scene as well. So it was really an honor to watch him work two different types of atmospheres. And then the other one is it's a rising star, man. Rising star, I think that we all like. We all can get behind. He's good. The man don't miss. No pun intended. Um, but Andrade and Carmelo Hayes, man. I feel like they're carrying SmackDown outside of everything that's going on with the Bloodline, Roman, Cody Rhodes. You know what I mean? Like that storyline in general. If you take that away, I feel like these two guys right now, everything they got going on with their feud with LA Knight, even kind of a little bit in the mix. Um, but Andrade and Carmelo, do you feel like both these guys are carrying SmackDown right now?
100%. Andrade is my dude. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I've been a huge Andrade fan in his early Mexico days and his later early NXT days and his later AEW days and his now run. I'm a huge fan of Andrade. I hold so much. Like most of my favorite matches ever in wrestling have him in it, which is crazy to think about.
Right.
So Carmelo Hayes needed. I'm not saying he needed him, but he needed someone who can shine as much as he honestly can. Someone who can go in the ring and be like, "Yo, if you want to do this move and you know you can do it, I'll let you do it." And that's Andrade. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like Andrade, we've seen him work with everybody, whether
Mm-hmm.
any kind of style, everything. So Carmelo's getting a chance to really put this foot forward and make these moments that are incredible. His promo work is getting even better. He's building character for the first time since maybe around the end of his championship at NXT run, where he finally I was kind of figuring out who Carmelo Hayes was. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's so good. And what I love about this is that, I mean, they're going to be a tag team, right? Like that's what this is going to end up being. Because the way that this reminds me of, and I don't know if you recall this from back in the day, the best of 7 was originally Sheamus and Cesaro, and they tore down the house every single time, and that led to the bar. It was two people who didn't like each other, right? It was two people who didn't like each other, but they were just too good not to be working together. And I hope that that's where this actually leads. I hope we get that Carmelo Hayes, Andrade El Idolo partnership, and they win tag gold.
Yeah, one of those things. If you can't beat them, join them. So
Right.
just and figure it out together. That'd be an interesting tag team, man. To be honest, those two guys would be an interesting tag team. And I'm like you, dude. Andrade's, fan favorite. Love watching the dude work. He's great. I've always thought he was awesome. Uh, and Carmelo too, man. Carmelo, since I've been watching NXT, since I've been doing the things that I need to be, since I've been doing those things, consistently watching NXT, consistently watching his run on SmackDown, I I I truly found myself enjoying him. So uh, I think both these guys are carrying. They're both gonna do great things. Before I ask you a question, you stopped recording.
I see that.
Yeah, just back out and back in real quick.
All right.
Until we get Aaron back though, Andrade, man, Andrade El Idolo, dude, he's a fantastic wrestler. He's clean. His work is good. Like Nate Ram said earlier, he's getting better in the promo work. It sucked that back then in that time, I really felt like they should have just let Andrade really cut all his promos in Spanish. Just let him do it. Just let him cut his promos in Spanish. When Zelina was with him as the manager too, just talking for him, his mouthpiece was great. Everything about Andrade and NXT was fantastic. Then he went to main roster. And not saying that his main roster run was bad, but it was subpar. It was what, as a fan, what I didn't want, you know? So, it sucked that he had to go through such hard times and I don't know whatever you want to call it, but he had to go through a lot of hard things, right, while he was on WWE. Then goes to AEW, has a little bit of a shine, has a little bit of some stuff going on too, and then falls off. Don't see Andrade, then leaves, goes back to WWE, and now he's having a fantastic run. So that's been fantastic. Nate Ram's back. Nate Ram, my question for you is before we get to our first break, if you would take Carmelo's mic skills, just his mic skills, and put it on Ricochet, would Ricochet have been a WWE World Champion?
100%. 100%. There's like something about being able to talk. And I tell you this all the time. A promo is way better than a great worker as far as it comes to making money. I love a good wrestling match, but if you're not a good promo, it's so hard to get behind you. And that's the problem that Carmelo's not going to have. I'm not saying he's as good as Ricochet because, in all honesty, he's probably not. But he can talk, which puts him above him in my opinion, because he has character, And I'm not trying to bash on Ricochet, but I've seen his 2 promos he's cut on AEW so far, and I'm just like, oh yeah, that's right. He can't talk. Like, it's one of those things, So yeah, you put any better promo skill on Ricochet, and he would have been a top star, I think.
What makes you think he can't just get the promo work down? It's honestly, it's not even easy, to be honest. I think it's one of the hardest things that a lot of wrestlers, could probably agree on. That promos, number one, suck. And like you said, if you can't talk, you can't talk. Which should be the easiest thing, right? Like, talking shit should be one of the easiest things, but I guess it's not.
I think it's easy for people who understand their character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I look at some of the greatest talkers in the ring: Stone Cold Steve Austin, CM Punk. People like, even who not as great as them, Enzo Amore. These are people who had character, who understood what they were going for.
Right.
So when your character is simply, I can do flips and I redefine gravity and this and that, but you can't tell me that character outside of the ring, it's hard for you to talk because you don't know what you're talking for. You know what I mean? And I think Pac, who is incredible talent, and WWE had that issue because he didn't know what his character was until about the 205 days, where he was like the villain, because that was his character. You know what I mean?
I truly feel like that's when he created the Bastard. Was at 205,
right? You know what I mean? So it's like one of those things. It's like, if you're just a guy who wrestles, but that your gimmick is something that has to do with just wrestling, and you don't have character, and it's time for you to cut a promo, who are you when you're talking?
Right.
John Cena is a great promo because he's hustle, loyalty, respect. He's the guy that's gonna tell the fans that, I'm here because of y'all. Randy Orton hears voices in his head, so we wait for that satanic little nod or something when he speaks. Great promos are great characters, and if you don't have great character, I guarantee you're not a good promo. Show me a good promo who doesn't have a good character.
Might have to do some homework on that and get back to you. But I truly agree. I thought about this question a lot. I wanted to ask you because I felt like you would break it down, and you broke it down beautifully, man. And I broke it down to a way that I didn't even get to. But I was just like, man, if Ricochet could talk like Carmelo Hayes, without question, he'd be a champion. You know what I mean? And like you said,
I know he got game. Dude got Samantha Irvin. I know he could say something. I know he just didn't go out there and do a backflip. You know what I mean? Like, he had to say something.
And they got to talk at those dinners. You're absolutely right, man. You're absolutely right. Let's hop into our first break, and we'll be right back.
Dive into a world where every pinfall, every suplex, and every promo is celebrated in fashion. From the legendary 3-count trivia to the iconic bad guy wrestling, we've got the latest gear to elevate your wrestling wardrobe. Show off your passion for the squared circle. It's not just clothing, it's a lifestyle. Come shop with us and unleash your inner champion at foursidesofthering.com. That's foursidesofthering.com.
foursidesofthering.com, where you can see all of our merch and find all of our merch and buy all of our merch. And it is created by the one and the only bad guy, Brandy Savage. Nit Ram, let's talk about Sami Zayn. We brought him up a little bit. Let's talk about Sami Zayn. I want to know something, man, because I don't know about you, but me personally, kind of getting tired of this underdog story that he keeps telling. Um, I was cool with it, in some of these runs that he's been doing, and I love Sami, man. He's great. He's fantastic. But this underdog story he's doing with Gunther, again, is it enough to beat Gunther again?
No, dude. Look, I laugh because I don't know if people know this, but I'm about to spill the tea. Brandy Savage does not like Sami Zayn. And he always tells me, he's like, dude, I can't get behind him because he's always punching himself in the face. He's like trying to hype himself up. And I think it's that, bro. It's the underdog story so played out at this point. Like we got it for months and months against Gunther.
Mm-hmm.
He finally won.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That was cool. Braun beats him. We get it for another month of the underdog story. He beats Braun. Braun beats him again. All of a sudden, he gets a world title shot. Which, where did that come from? It's like Sami Zayn is an incredible talent. I love Sami Zayn. I love El Generico. I love all his work. He needs to click the reset, refresh, reboot, and come out as something different. And he's one of the best people at doing that. I was a big fan of conspiracy theory, Sami Zayn. I was a big fan of the guy with the stupid hat. I used to be like, bro, why is he wearing that stupid hat? But every week I was excited to see him. You know what I'm saying? He's really good at reinventing himself. That's one thing I think he's honestly incredible at doing. I don't think it's believable because I just watched him get his ass beat by Braun Breaker. And Gunther's in a totally different level. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you beat Gunther before, but it's like, it's not the same at this point, man. I feel like they should have held this off and waited for Gunther to be like world champion for like 200 days max before they do the Sami, I beat you in the past, I could do it again kind of story. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just too soon for it, I think.
I agree with you. I feel like it's definitely too soon. It's like you said, it was just like we just watched you guys, like you both just did this for the IC title. Sami, you went over, you did, Gunther did his job. Sami did his job as IC champion. And then out of nowhere, it's just like, was Sami Zayn even having singles matches to get his dubs up to be number one contender, or was he just giving a number one contender spot because Scrap Daddy just I don't know, all hell let loose over there at Monday Night Raw. But yeah, man, I'm just getting really tired of it, dude. And I love a good underdog story. You know what I mean? I truly do love a good underdog story. But it's just a certain time, man, where it's just like you can only do it a few times and get away with it. But I feel like this has been a story for like the last year now, the last year and a half. You know
what happens when he's on top? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
how does he? Yeah, exactly. What happens when he's on top? What happens when he becomes the world heavyweight champion? You know what I mean? Who's going to be that next underdog person? Not even Rey Mysterio used the underdog story so many. I think maybe 3 or 4 times in his career he might have used it.
I don't even think he won those feuds. So it's like, besides the Rumble, you know what I mean? It's just
right. So I don't think it's going to be enough this time to beat Gunther. I think Gunther's going to reign as world heavyweight champion for a minute. It's going to be a long time. I would say maybe about a year before Gunther drops that title to anybody. And if he does drop it, it might be the breaker, in my opinion. So, who knows? Who really knows what's going to happen there? We had somebody win some solo gold for the first time, which you and I will talk about later on in the show. But I want to talk about somebody else possibly getting a solo gold moment, right? Because WWE is about making moments. It's about showing things and proving to other fans, like, hey, we're hearing you. We're hearing you guys out. We want to do the right things. We want you to come watch our weekly televised show. But Xavier Woods, will he ever get his solo gold moment?
Y'all heard it here first. Xavier Woods is going to be the person to dethrone Gunther. And I think they actually have been setting. People don't like long term storytelling, but they've actually been setting this up for a long minute now. This Xavier Gunther feud. You know, they had their spats in the past, but this is why I think it's more important to be Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods, as we saw this week, was once again fed up.
Mhm.
Xavier Woods has every reason to be fed up, and I stand 10 toes down on this. I also think though Kofi has every reason to not understand what the heck is going on. So it's like Kofi. The way I see it is Kofi wants to celebrate the New Day and their 10-year anniversary, right?
Right.
Xavier is kind of like sitting there like, dude, like I want to focus on titles. You know what I mean? Xavier is young. He's in his prime years. Kofi is close to retirement. I don't think Kofi puts that together yet. Like, yo, I'm kind of holding this guy back. You know what I mean?
Right.
But he doesn't think of it like that because in his mind, he's like, we've been together for 10 years. Like, this is it. You know what I mean? But Kofi had a whole nother 10 years before that. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's like one of those things. But I noticed when Xavier, especially, you know, this whole Rey Mysterio segment, which I thought that everyone played their part incredible in this, where Rey came out and he was like, look, man, I'm sorry. Like, you know, I understand, like, we messed up, but, you know, we were just trying to. And Xavier's like, nah, like, y'all are dumb for that. Like, no one asked y'all. You know what I mean? It was like one of those things.
Yep.
But it was the fact that he pointed out, he was like, oh, I get it. You want to tell me to keep my cool because you're a former world champion. And then Kofi tried to butt in. He goes, another former world champion trying to tell me something. He was like, everybody here got solo accomplishments and all this other stuff. I think Xavier Woods, I think the New Day will all hold world championships. I just think Xavier Woods will be the butt of the joke. He will beat Gunther. Mark my words on this. He'll beat Gunther, and somebody will cash in their money in the bank on him immediately. I think Gunther will have it that long. I think that's where this goes. I think he also is the one that retires Kofi Kingston on this route. I think Kofi's hitting those years. You know, who knows? Kofi's had a hell of a run. So it's like, I think if anyone's going to do that, it needs to be Xavier. I don't want Xavier's first title to be a mid-card title. I don't want it to be the Speed Championship. I don't want it to be the Intercontinental Championship. I don't want it to be the USA Championship. I don't want it to be the WWE Universal, whatever they're calling it now, Championship. It needs to be the World Heavyweight Championship. It's the belt that his brothers pretty much held in a different form.
That's true. That's 100% true. And I don't know. I don't know if him winning and then getting cash in on is the way to go. But I do agree with you. I do think that the New Day, all three of them, will hold world championships. It's well deserved. I think Xavier Woods has, like you said, is an incredible talent. He deserves his flowers. He's definitely paid his dues when it comes to the WWE and wrestling for them as somebody who has grown a whole page on YouTube just on video games and somebody who really looks like they spread the light backstage. You know what I mean? Somebody who's always just a smile on his face. He's gonna probably give you the best advice he can give you, so you can go out there and be the greatest person you can be.
Doesn't have bad matches. You know what I mean?
Doesn't have bad matches. He's super clean. Rarely gets injured. You know what I mean? So I do think Xavier Woods will get his moment, and I agree with you. It doesn't need to be mid card title. It needs to be world championship gold. It needs to be a main title. Heavyweight championship would be cool, but I think the WWE one would be better.
Him beating Cody, that's not it for me. You know what I mean? Like, that's not it for me.
Actually, anybody beating Cody and taking that title away from him is it for me. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say on that. Let's talk about this feud. I'm not too sure how you're feeling about it. It's a meat feud.
Skip.
I know you're not a fan of Mr. Braun. I know you're not a fan of Mr.
I like Strowman. I like Strowman.
Okay. Then it's the other.
He's from North Carolina. I like Strowman.
We got a last monster standing match. Do you think this will be the end of the feud? This match right here.
God, I hope so. shout props to Monday Night Raw and making this seem like it was a big main event matchup to almost like a pay-per-view match. And it's going to be on free TV. One thing I've always praised AEW for doing was putting on pay-per-view matches on free TV. And honestly, this feels like one of them for WWE.
Mhm.
So props to that. I can give props when props are due. The video package for this was awesome. Braun walking through the Walmart, the King Kong versus Godzilla phase video package. Awesome. I've seen these guys destroy the turnbuckles, destroy the backstage, go through walls, destroy cars. I'm already over it. It's fun, I guess. This is a match to me where I start cooking dinner. And I hate to say that because that's the main event. What I was talking about earlier? I go to bed before the main event on Raw. Yeah, that's like it doesn't make me want to stay up to watch it.
Right. I got you.
You know what I mean? So,
Not for you. I mean, I'm one who's personally I'm enjoying this. I really am. I just hope that something comes out of it for either one of them. And at the time, at this point right now, the way storylines are moving and everything, I just don't think there is. Like
we're getting Monster Miz. Have you noticed in the background, Karrion Kross keeps telling Miz, you don't have to be that kind of monster. And Braun kind of threw shade at him that one week. He was like, it takes a real monster to beat a monster. And they just walked away from the Miz, and the Miz was like, bro, what? I was hyping you up.
Can you imagine if the Miz takes 2 months off and it's just
jacks up, bro? The Miz does some spooky stuff, bro, but it's comedy. I would die. He joins Karrion Kross and tries to be Karrion
Usually,
Jr.
anything that Mike puts himself in is really good. What do you think is after this feud is over? What do you think is on the horizon for Braun and your boy?
Braun Strowman will be in catering. Bronson Reed will be in the IC picture. I may not be a fan of him, but I can see the money in him. I can see the excitement he gets from the crowd. He's definitely an intercontinental hardcore story. You know what I mean? And for the person that just won the belt, that's a good person to beat. So
that is true. That is true. Even though I think him and Breaker probably would have had a better match.
Bro, they're going to be a tag team. They're going to be the Bar. I'm just going to say everyone's going to be the Bar. If you have a feud that lasts more than 3 matches, you're the new Bar to me. They're going to be the monster. Oh, bro, they're going to be the monsters. That's so bad. Oh, that's even worse. They're going to come out and you're just going to be like, raw. That's so bad, bro. That's some 90s WWE booking right there. That's Typhoon and Earthquake bad right there.
Hey, if it happens, you're welcome, Triple H. You can go ahead and use that. Speaking about targeting people and stuff, who do you think is the next target for the Wyatt Six? Looks like they're done with Chad. They're moving on to better things. They're throwing out QR codes again. They're throwing out some secret messages.
Judgment Day? Right? New Judgment Day. Betrayed their family. Keeps attacking them. So, kayfabe wise, makes the most sense to me. Did you notice the Lily doll was in the background behind Adam Pearce? I seen that. God, I hope we get Alexa Bliss back. I really want Alexa Bliss back as Sister Bliss. I thought she embodied the character really well after Bray was released. And I don't understand why. I think she got injured or she got pregnant. She got something.
Right.
And she hasn't been on TV since. And I miss her. I miss Carmelo. They're 2 females I really miss. But I hope she comes back as with this Wyatt group. Because it's so hot. You know what I mean? Come back with what's hot. And if she's the one calling the shots, she speaks and it's really Bray, she embodied that spirit, that's what they need to do. She just talking. She talks it's Alexa Bliss on camera, obviously, but it's Bray. It's Bray speaking, like a broken verse kind of deal.
Yeah, like a Madam Web type deal.
Right, where she looks at Bo and she's like, "Listen here, my brother," and she talks like Bray. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Oh, dude, yeah. I would lose my. I would buy merch. I'd finally buy the Lily doll. I'd buy it.
Bliss.
Mama Bliss, bro.
Mama Bliss. That's what's up. Brandon, the guy's in the chat. He says, "What's up?" He's looking for his favorite right now. Brandon is in New York. Brandon, the guy. So you want to go see him, you could drive out there and go see him. I think he's out there till Sunday or Monday. I'm not too sure.
I have COVID, so he went back to New York.
No, yeah, I think the Wyatt Six. I wasn't thinking the Judgment Day.
But I mean, right?
I'm
Like that makes
I'm
the most
kind of
sense.
yeah. I was kind of leaning towards the New Day and Xavier Woods, but after our conversation with Xavier Woods, I'm not leaning towards that anymore because it just looked like Xavier was turning his back on his family. What would be really interesting to me is if they were targeting Karrion Cross and
The
his
Final
people.
Testament, but he's all about his people.
Is he though?
He bleeds for the man. He loves those guys. God knows it. That's the only reason why they got
Then
on
why are they
TV. He
not?
made
Why are they
sure
not in tag team? Why are they not in the tag team? Competition. Why is he not? Why is he so focused on fixing everybody else and not what's going on with him?
because in his mind, bro, his boys are perfect.
I
He's
guess.
like, he looks at those two big sweaty men. He's like, you guys are the full package. Now look at this scrawny Xavier Woods. We need to
He's the
make him
little.
one of y'all.
He's the Lulu. D Lulu. If that's what you're thinking. Let's talk some NXT. NXT this week was kind of subpar. Only one good thing happened is we got a face debut, got an in ring debut of Miss Stephanie Vaquer. Do you think it's smart for NXT to do this back to back debut, especially going towards this woman championship?
I think if it keeps Roxanne champion, it's the only way it's smart.
Mm, really? You think Roxanne is
If
over both Julia and
so,
Stephanie?
I think the big feud isn't Julia Roxanne. It isn't Julia, or I'm sorry, it isn't Stephanie Roxanne. I think the big feud is Julia Stephanie. You don't need the title for it to start that way.
That's true.
So I think if they cancel each other out and Roxanne steals a win and the prodigy continues to be the prodigy, now you have two things that came out of this. You have a new feud between your two new talents, and now you can see who's going to get over more with the crowd, right? Works
Mm-hmm.
that way. Who are we
Mm-hmm.
investing in more? And you have the cockiness of Roxanne still saying, "There's no one on this roster who can beat me. You brought them from around the world. I beat them. I'm the prodigy." And it enhances her character even more. So I see two positives if both of them can make it work where Roxanne keeps the belt.
Hmm. So you think you got Roxanne going over next week against Julia? I'm not mad at that. I'm really not because I think it's cliche and one thing that we've always said is you don't want to make wrestling too predictable, and I think it's too
Mm.
predictable if you have Julia come in and clean house, right? One thing I want to see. Me and Chana have spoke about it plenty of times. Is the one thing I want to see from this match next week is I want to see full speed. You know what I mean? I want to see
Mhm.
Julia make Roxanne work. You know what I mean? A way that Roxanne hasn't worked because if you truly think about it, Roxanne's actually stepping in the ring with a veteran, somebody who's I will say maybe 100 times better in ring than she is.
Yeah, well, on top of that, Roxanne, to give her credit though, has slowed down her game
No,
because
100%.
she's in development. But like when she was in TNA and these other, she was full speed. You know what I mean? And it showed, I think, with Jordan Grace when they gave her that full on veteran, this woman who knows how to work. They went full on pace at it. You know what I mean? So I agree with you. I think we need a full pace from Roxanne because she can get it this time, but she can't. She's not going to get that same pace from like Sol Ruka. You know what I mean? So it's
Right.
like I feel like Roxanne had to slow down her game. So I'm
I
real
think
excited for it as well.
I think Stephanie showing her face. You know what I mean? I think she said she's gonna target whoever wins or whatever the case might be. But I like what you said. I think the story is really Stephanie Julia. Because this
Hmm.
is a rivalry. This is a feud. You can go watch that incredible match that they had together. You can watch that on YouTube wherever you want to watch your wrestling over there in New Japan, right? So they already have that chemistry. They already have that history, and then this might be the first time that we'll actually see two of the top women in wrestling in the ring together. You know what I mean? There's like top five women right now. Julia and Stephanie's in that conversation. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So we're gonna get those two in the ring together. We already had Stephanie and Miss Mercedes Monet a few months back at Forbidden Door, who you could possibly say Mercedes Monet is top five woman wrestler right now. So We're getting another banger match. Stephanie's incredible in the ring. I have gotten the chance to see her live. I haven't had the chance to see Giulia live, but now that she is on our American circuit, maybe NXT will come out to Winston-Salem and we could go watch a show, or
They
Greensboro,
ain't
Charlotte,
coming to
Raleigh.
Winston. We're gonna to drive an hour. They ain't coming to Winston.
So do I think it's smart for NXT to do this? Yes, 100%, because you got to get people to tune into the CW. Got to get people to tune in these next few weeks, these next couple months in reality, right? You have to keep NXT interesting. You have to keep it running. So what can you do to do that? You bring in the second best woman you signed, say, you know what, let me show my face and I'm coming. She cut the English, the promo in English. But first she said hello in Spanish. And I think everybody lost their mind. There was one clip of this dude. I'm not sure if you saw it. He was balls to the walls, ecstatic,
Bro,
when the
they
Rock
never
was
heard
coming back.
Spanish before, bro.
You know what I mean? It was like Stone Cold came back or something. This guy was hyped. You know what I mean? But it's interesting. It's interesting that Shawn Michaels is in WWE TKO is all going to take this chance. Two women who are phenomenal, great in ring, spectacular, right? Because they're letting their younger guys try to cook. You know what I mean on NXT. All egos there now, so that's great. I know you're not a big fan of Trick Williams, but he's getting there. He's getting better. Javon Evans has been doing his thing.
Pete Dunne's been helping out.
Pete Dunne's
I know
been
he's a
helping
veteran,
out, right?
but he's been helping out.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So you got your young guys are there in the singles competitive. You got the Good Brothers freaking making this tag team division in NXT look really, really good. You know what I mean? So I'm happy for the Good Brothers. Are doing great things. I wish they were winning more, but it is what it is. I understand the process and I understand, the turmoil and everything that has to happen over there at NXT. So these guys can look good. But I do think this was a smart move by NXT by showing us Giulia 1 week, giving us a match, and then the following week showing us Stephanie, and then all of it pertaining to Roxanne and how good, how truly good Roxanne is. Now you've said that Roxanne is up there when it comes to NXT Women's Champions, is up there, with the four horsewomen. So
and Oscar.
And Oscar, right? So you give her high praise already, right? But now we have two women who have high praise, right? Who never stepped foot in the WWE. You know what I mean? This is their first time coming out here and doing this, right? You had one go to AEW for just to have one hell of a dream match, like we spoke about, but you have two of the top women coming to your promotion. You have a wrestler who thinks she is a prodigy, or who says she is a prodigy. She's phenomenal. She's great, right? How do you protect all three of these women?
Well, this is how I would book it. Giulia's going to get close to beating Roxanne, and she'll have a cocky moment where she looks at Stephanie. Stephanie then will cause a distraction. Roxanne gets a cheap win, a roll up, what do they call that, a landslide pin, where they do the razor, something cheap, foot on the rope, push down. I don't get why women grab trunks. I don't think why anyone grabs trunks. I don't see how it's effective at all, to be honest. Don't do no trunk grab, but she'll get a cheap win. Stephanie will claim that she is the number one contender after that. Giulia will then cost her. We'll get the Giulia Stephanie match. Roxanne remains. Whether they're cheap wins or not, she still beats them. It protects everyone. And then we get a banger match out of it. It becomes a no contest. We get a triple threat. Or, Roxanne interferes. We get a triple threat. And then you decide which one you're passing the title to.
Okay. I feel that. Booking Like a Mark is in the comments, and Booking Like a Mark, I'm gonna get to your comment here in a minute. He was also in the comments. He says, "Good evening, brothers. What's going on, brother?
That's my guy.
Hope you're having a well night." But let's jump into another break and move the needle.
What's up, my fellow bad guys? Just when you thought we were down bad, Brandy's here to pick us right back up. Thanks to our partnership with SeatGeek, we got good seats and great prices. New users can score a fantastic $20 off their final ticket purchase by using the exclusive promo code 4SIDESOTR at checkout for any event. That's 4SIDESOTR. Tell them the bad guy sent you.
4SIDESOTR, SeatGeek, use our code. Get your tickets. Bad Blood's coming up. SummerSlam in New Jersey was just announced. Full Gear's coming up. That's also, I believe that was in New York. So go ahead and get your tickets. Four Sides OTR on SeatGeek. Let's go ahead and show everybody what our Move the Needle is from our partners over there at SeatGeek. Today's Move the Needle, Mr. NetRam, is: does Xavier Woods move the needle?
Recently, yes. As a tag team, absolutely. I would have never thought of him as a solo star because I thought he was just a background character, and I hate to say it like that. But to be fair, he kind of was. He was Kofi's partner. He was E's partner. And I'm glad they kind of like shed light on that when Kofi was like, "Well, we used to have E," and he was like, "Oh, so it's not good enough when it's just us." Because I feel like he felt like that too. You know what I mean? His character work is incredible since the start of this. I know they had a backstep with the Odyssey Jones fiasco, and we don't need to get into that. But everything he's done with Karrion Kross up until right now with the LWO, up until, what I mean? Like everything he's done, his character work is so incredible because he really went from this super positive guy, chanting out the New Day, playing trombones, to this guy who I'm reflecting on my career and I've done nothing. And to me, that moves the needle because this is more believable. And I hate to say it, this is more believable than Jey Uso, and it's more believable than Sami Zayn. It's a guy who has been an autopilot for 10 years, having fun with his friends, and now is coming to a realization that I'm the only one who hasn't done anything. And I love that character work because he doesn't want to blame his friends, but like you can kind of see in his face, like they have to be the reason, right? And I love it. Xavier Woods absolutely moves the needle for me, 100%.
Man, I really love how you put that. Xavier Woods definitely moves the needle for me. I've 10 years being a fan of the New Day, I've watched him in TNA as well, so I'm a fan of Austin Creed. I was a fan when he showed up in NXT. The solo guy. He was partying. He had everything you wanted in a wrestler. You know what I mean? One thing he slacked a little bit on was promo work, but he got way better. His promo work got way better. You know what I mean, than what it was when he first started, as it should. Yeah, man, you hit it right on the nail, dude. It's the character work for me right now that definitely moves the needle. The whole, man, we've been doing some really good things, but we've been doing good things. I haven't been doing nothing. Kofi, you're a former world champion. Big E is a former world champion. When people think of the New Day, they're going to think of you guys because you guys were former world champions, and then they will say 14-time tag team champion. You know what I mean? Xavier Woods. So where's Xavier Woods love at, right? When does he, and we talked about it, when will he have that moment? And he will get that moment, but when? Right? And this story, this long-term storytelling of 10 years of us doing awesome things. For what? Because all everybody's gonna remember is Kofi when you won the title and Big E when you won the title. No one ever
Which is
really
like,
talks.
it's crazy to think about. I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's
No, you're
like
good.
when you really break it down, Kofi's only world champion in a sense because of Xavier Woods. Because when you go back to that story, originally any three of them could have been in that gauntlet match. That Kofi, that then it came out. And they were like, "Come on, obviously it's Kofi." You know what I'm saying? Like they were supportive of their friend. Then I don't know if you remember this terrible storybooking, but the New Day actually had to win a tag team gauntlet match for them to have Kofi get the title match. It was really clunky the way they did this. Like the Usos came out and they were like, "We're not going to fight you," and like it was really dumb.
I
But
feel like it. I
still,
feel like
in a
there was a
sense,
time. I feel
Xavier
like
was
there.
like, "Oh, go ahead."
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'll say, and then Xavier was kind of like, he's like the reason why Kofi got the title. And then Big E only gets the title because when the New Day gets drafted as a tag team later on that year, they only take Kofi and Xavier because those were the tag team guys. Remember that, right? Big E went to a separate brand. He became his own character. But no one ever thought about drafting Xavier by himself. He's always been that other guy.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna bring up. There was a time where it was just like anytime there was a singles thing to do and the New Day was a part of it, it was like, oh, Kofi, well, you have all the experience. You know what I mean? You
Right.
it, so you go do it. You go do it. You go do it. And then Big E had that solo run, like you said, got switched to a different promotion, was doing his thing. He became world champion, and then when he got back, they would be like, oh well, you know what, Big E, you go do it. You know what I mean? You know what it's like. You go do it. You go do it.
Mhm.
So Xavier's been on the back burner, so he has every right to be upset. He has every right to be frustrated about his career. Not saying that he hasn't had a bad career because he hasn't said that. You know what I mean? He's frustrated because when it's all
What's his
said and done,
legacy?
right? What's his legacy? When it's all said and done, what did he really do besides be a tag team champion? And he'll fall into that conversation like you say about our guy Jey Uso. Oh, he's a tag team wrestler, and that's all he's ever going to be. So Xavier Woods wants to move out of that, and definitely I think Xavier Woods moves the needle, and I believe he'll move the needle for everybody here at Four Sides of the Ring. And if I'm wrong, Chano and Brandy will probably be on next week to tell me how Xavier Woods doesn't move the needle for them. But who knows? Booking Like a Mark was in here, and this comes up to my next question. The main event at Bad Blood, what should it be? Now, Booking Like a Mark said he came in during halftime for the Giants Cowboys game. Go Big Blue. Hopefully my guys are winning. If not, it's all good. But he said each brand has a huge main event for Bad Blood. Cody teaming with Roman, and then we have Hell in a Cell. Which one is the main event? Let me know your thoughts, Nary.
It needs to be the Hell in a Cell. For 3 reasons. One, the Cody Roman thing is not the biggest feud going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's also a continuance. Like, I know this is going somewhere else. There's a next step to this. But the Hell in a Cell is the original Bad Blood. First off, the original Bad Bloods pay-per-view match was the Hell in a Cell, the main event. I don't know if that's its debut, isn't it? That's the Hell in a Cell debut, was it Bad Blood? Don't quote me on that, but I'm like 90% sure on that. That might be a trivia question. And then it's like it's the end of a feud. You know what I mean? This is it. This is match number 3. At least for another 6 to 8 months, maybe Mania season. You know what I mean? That's like the closest I could see it ever coming back. But this has got to be it. One of them's going to take time off. One of them's going to kill each other. You know what I mean? So they need to be the main event. There's no continuance after this. Someone needs to stand up tall, raise their hand, and that person is like, you did this. You won this feud. At the end of the day, you were right. And I think I'm gonna scream real hard when it's Drew McIntyre. You know what I mean? Like, just.
I thought you was gonna say someone needs to stand up tall and put a syringe in somebody's face.
I mean, I hope we get that kind of energy. I hope he puts the bracelet in his mouth. And
if there's anything that Pepsi Phil could do is definitely be petty, and he could probably be back there with Drew McIntyre, like, yo, we got to do this way better than Hangman Adam Page because fuck that guy. Okay,
you're not gonna drink my blood, but like, what if?
But yes, I agree with you 100%. The main event at Bad Blood needs to be the Hell in a Cell. The way that they get telling the story, the way that both these guys came out week after week to say that they're gonna kill each other. There's gonna be blood. There's gonna be a whole bunch of stuff. It's gonna be brutal. The only thing that's gonna suck is if it's not brutal. And we get a PG match, which we're gonna get, and
that ends in DQ.
I'm not gonna hype it up. Probably right. Yeah. Never forget.
Never forget.
Never forget when a no disqualification match ends with a disqualification.
It happened way too many times now.
But yeah, I think that definitely this Drew Punk match, Hell in a Cell, needs to be the main event. I do like the Cody Roman thing, but I think that was to sell the pay-per-view because I don't think Drew and CM Punk, I don't think that match really sold it. You know what I mean? And I think when people heard Bad Blood, they weren't really thinking Hell in a Cell. They were really thinking the Bloodline.
Right.
So they had to incorporate the Bloodline in there.
This also goes back to my point, bro. Like, Cody Rhodes is from Atlanta. The man doesn't even got a solo match. Like, this is my point about Cody Rhodes. You know what I mean? Like, the pop of the hometown champion should be the main event. I agree. People said Roman has ties to Atlanta. Is that where or Georgia? That's where he played in college or something? I don't know.
Something like that. Yeah,
they said he had ties to Georgia. I don't know what it was. I didn't look it up. But I know for a fact that is Cody's hometown. You know what I mean? Like, that's his homelands. And he's not even defending the title one-on-one. Right. Like, no, he doesn't deserve to be the main event. I don't care if he's champion. All right? If anything, let him open the show. Let The Rock come out. I don't know. Let Cody bring his dog out or something, and we'll all just move on from there.
Brennan, the guy, says if Cody and Roman opens, no one will care about the rest of the show after that.
That's false. Dominic Mysterio is going to be hanging from a shark cage. People are going to care.
I think that might be the most match I'm interested in, that love triangle that Dom's going to be hanging up there from a shark cage, risking his life while these two women are fighting over him. I know. It's just... But yeah, I definitely think CM Punk, Drew McIntyre deserve to be the main event, because just the story on this, I feel like, is the biggest one that they got going right now, currently. Obviously, the Bloodline is a big story, but currently right now, I think the one that everybody is like interested in and full-fledged built into right now is Drew McIntyre, CM Punk. So yeah, hopefully they will. Are you still into this Drew McIntyre CM Punk feud though? Like, I know you said if you're gonna be feud this on, might as well be the bar. So
right, you know what I mean? Yes and no. Yes, I think this showed a lot of greatness of CM Punk is here to play ball. We all know for a fact Drew really did have an issue with Punk coming back. That was a known open fact. And these two are professionals. They made it work. You made a work into a shoot, brother, or a shoot into a work, whatever they say. If this elevates Drew back into a title picture, back into the Scottish psychopath, I just want him to be elevated. Drew is one of the most fabulous talents they have. Mm-hmm. If you ask me, I think I could name a lot of people on the roster, and if you put them side by side with Drew McIntyre, I'd probably pick Drew McIntyre 96% of the time. He's really good to me. Punk can look great in defeat and take time off. We all know his body's kind of fragile. I expect him to win the Rumble. Just throwing it out there. So let him rest up for that. God knows the man only has one more torn pec before he has to hang it up for good. So.
No, I mean, I agree with you. I am done with this feud. I do think this is the most interesting Drew McIntyre has been in about 2 years. So it's really cool. It might be even a little bit longer than that, you know what I mean? But this is like really built into. I'm really built into Drew McIntyre, right? And I've always been a fan of Drew McIntyre. This is the most interesting storyline he's been in thus far. Like I said, in the last 2 years, CM Punk is doing a great job by putting him over and doing all this work with him, and really showing us that Drew can work. He can cut promos. He can change character. He can do all these things that maybe somebody wasn't allowing him to do. Right. So you're absolutely right. CM Punk doesn't need to win because he could look great in defeat. He could take time off. He could come back and challenge for a title. He can come back and challenge Seth Rollins. He can do whatever he needs to do because he's CM Punk. So I hopefully that this Hell in a Cell, they're done with this. You know what I mean? Like you said, one of them's apparently has got to die. So the feud has to be done, and then hopefully Drew McIntyre's off to bigger and better things. Maybe we can finally get that one-on-one Gunther Drew McIntyre match, because I don't want to see Gunther CM Punk. But who knows what it could be? Who really knows what it could be? Brendan the guy said Drew McIntyre is not fabulous.
What's wrong with Drew Mac?
I don't know.
Character 10, wrestling skill 10.
I don't know.
Not trying to be a P Diddy, but handsomeness 10. It's a handsome fella.
The week that you were out, man, I was talking to Chana. I was talking to Brandy, and we were talking about Nigel McGuinness, and I was asking them if they moved the needle, and they were both kind of one. Chana said nah. Brandy was like yes, because he learned something about Nigel, that he didn't know, and he likes when wrestling teaches, shows the knowledge and teaches you the knowledge of a professional wrestler. 10 years to the date, Nigel McGuinness has a solo match.
I think it's 13, bro.
13 years?
13 years.
Okay, 13 years. I'm sorry. Thank you for the fact check. 13 years to the day, Nigel McGuinness has a solo match against the one, the only, Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon, AEW World Champion.
Good match.
How'd you feel about the match?
It was great. I feel like people were expecting this Ring of Honor speed from a guy who had a lot of concussions now, being Bryan Danielson and another guy who hasn't wrestled in 13 years and has only done commentary. But man, these guys, people always say like somebody has a special dance partner. And Bryan Danielson, he's one of the greatest to do it in ring. He can match with anybody, but it just showed that that's his dance partner. Because you take a guy, I've seen wrestlers take a year off, come back, and me and you say it all the time. Oh man, yeah, they really got shit off that ring rust. Nigel McGuinness did not look like he missed a step. You know what I mean? People don't like technical wrestling. I love technical wrestling. I'm a big fan of Zack Sabre Jr. I go over this all the time. He's really good. And I'm glad he got this, because I don't think he really got the proper goodbye 13 years ago. You know what I mean?
Right.
Kind of just all hit him at a flash. And I know people are like, oh, well, maybe it just means Bryan Danielson's that good that he made him look that good. That's great. That's your world champion. He should be that good. He should be that good that he can go in the ring with a guy who hasn't been in the ring in 13 years and put on a 3.5-star match. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be a 5-star, but we're talking, how good is that?
Right.
I really enjoyed the match. I think people didn't enjoy the match because how we got to the match. It was very clunky in booking. It was supposed to be Darby Allin, and John Moxley's like, well, Darby's not going to be at Grand Slam. And then like a commercial happens, and then Nigel McGuinness is like, I don't care what John just said. I challenged the guy who's not going to be there. Like it was real clunky. It was real clunky how they got there. Does not take away from the match for me. I personally didn't get to watch it live. You know that I had issues over here, so I was like, man. As soon as the morning hit, I went to a certain site and I watched it, and I really enjoyed it. I don't think they stole the show, but I really enjoyed it for everything it was.
Yeah, they definitely didn't steal the show, but I agree with you. I definitely enjoyed the match. It was really great to see Nigel in there, just looking good in the ring, man. Just looking like he's been doing it, and he never really truly gave it up, like he's been doing it backstage or something like that. And it was just really cool to see him, like you said, get that match, and you could tell he got that match, because at the end of it, he mouthed it off to Daniel like, thank you for doing this, because it looked like he had a great time doing it. He had fun, and hopefully he'll go back to commentary, doing his thing, and then just takes the L like a man, and respects the world champion. That's all he can really do.
He's a great commentator, so.
Oh yeah, he is. He's fantastic. He's a fantastic commentator. So I'm happy for him, and hopefully big things happens for him. With that being said, who do you think is going to retire Bryan Danielson? You got John Moxley beat Darby Allin at Grand Slam, so now John Moxley has the #1 spot for Wrestle Dream. You said earlier in the show that you still think it's going to be Darby Allin. We got other guys, Dana Garcia, MJF, Swerve Strickland. Everyone says he can come back. Christian Cage has their version of the Money in the Bank. The money in the contract is what I'm going to call it. So who do you think is going to be that person? Who do you think retires the American Dragon? Who gets the privilege? Because this is a privilege. You know what I mean?
Right.
This is somebody he's going to handpick and says, this is the guy that I want. Who do you think that guy is going to be?
If I had to put money on it, I would say Darby Allin. For some reason, I think the company's holding back on Darby Allin. I don't know what it is. I don't know if he still wants to do Mount Everest and he's not committing to dates or something. But something happened right within this booking where they were just like, all right, we got to find a way to get around this, because I wasn't expecting John Moxley to win. I'll tell you that. I was like, oh, yeah, he's going to retire in Seattle. That's like his whole, he's a diehard Seahawk fan. Like that's where it's got to be.
Right.
Whoever beats him, I think it's going to be instantly chokeslammed by Luchasaurus, and it is Christian Cage. I think Christian gets a decent run with the title as well. I think he deserves that. Certain people just deserve things, and I think he's one of the ones that deserve it. I don't think it's Moxley. I don't think it's Swerve. I still want to say it's Darby, but I just don't see it now. And it's like brings up that question. I would like it to be Daniel Garcia, but I know he's having contract issues, because that goes all the way back to their original feud of "You're a wrestler, no, I'm an entertainer." Bring that back up. You know what I mean? Like there's good stories to tell with Bryan Danielson. It's Bryan Danielson. Let it be Zack Sabre Jr. I don't care. Bring him in for one night.
One guy that I think would be awesome. It's probably not going to happen. I'm just shooting in the dark here.
Danhausen.
Yes, Danhausen. Yes. Put the AEW World Championship on Danhausen because he deserves it. The man is a stud. He can wrestle. He can cut promos. He's a comedy act. The entertainment just screams when you see him. Put the world title on Danhausen. Now, one person that I truly think would be a fabulous world champion and would have a great match with Daniel Bryan. Also has the people behind him to help him get that title from Mr. Danielson is Jay White.
Yeah, I can see that. They really want to elevate. That's the thing. Whoever beats him is going to be elevated immediately. I'm the guy that retired Bryan Danielson. You know what I mean?
Which really makes me think whoever beats him has to have a faction. You know what I mean? Has to have people behind him to help him get this title.
Right. I still think Darby's going to be involved with everyone's retirement, bro. Stings and Bryan Danielson and I don't know who else is going to close to retirement over there. I think Darby's just going to be that guy. Don't hang around Darby. He's going to retire you. I want him to be that guy.
He's their legend killer.
And then of course you always have a returning Kenny. If you know, hopefully we can bless us with a returning Kenny. I think run that one more time. And there's Okada.
Yeah, I was gonna say we can also run back Okada.
You know, they have unfinished business. There's Okada.
I wouldn't be mad if Takeshita took the title from Mr. Danielson.
You know, there's Takeshita. There's, you know, let's be honest. There's a Will Ospreay. You know what I mean? Like, there's
Ospreay, absolutely right.
There's a good thing about AEW is they have a lot of people. I'll tell you who's not going to do it. It's not going to be Ricochet. He'll go there and be like, "Yeah, Brian, I should be champion."
Do you think if they didn't do the match early enough, but obviously we know why they did it because they were in Chicago and it made sense to bring him out for GP. But do you think, like if he didn't have the TNT Championship and he was doing this whole scapegoat thing, like driving the bus state to state, doing his whole thing, do you think Jack Perry would have been somebody who could have had the honor to do that?
I think yes. I think because it would have been believable. You know, like I'm learning from the Bucks. I'm learning from this guy. I'm learning from this guy. And he did the whole Japan thing because, I mean, stories are kind of similar, you know? Bryan Danielson wasn't always the number one guy. So it's like, you know, and I've been a fan of Jack Perry since Jungle Boy days. I'm a huge fan of him. I think he does amazing work, regardless of what anybody says. I even like his own theme song. But yeah, so I mean, like I said, they got a roster full of great young talent is the key word here. Young talent. And I think anyone that gets the opportunity to not even retire Danielson, whoever he's handpicking on this path to his retirement, because let's be honest, Bryan Danielson's handpicking everyone. Nigel McGuinness definitely didn't go up and like, I deserve a title shot. Bryan Danielson was like, bro, Nigel, bro, you get in the ring. You know what I mean? So it's like he's definitely handpicking everybody. So I'm real excited. And I think that's another reason why it's not going to be Darby. Their styles don't match. Darby's a death-defying guy, and Bryan Danielson, if he gets anywhere close to falling on broken glass, I'm gonna scream for my life because I'm worried about him. You know what I mean?
Before we move on to our next subject, the name that didn't pop up, but I think if you also want to tell stories, is Samoa Joe.
Yeah,
you know, so
Joe's been busy though, man. You see, he's in the new video game.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he's coming out in that new
Far Cry or something like that.
Nah, it's.
It's not Far Cry?
It's Yakuza.
Yakuza, that's what it is. Yeah. He's like the Samoan mobster. I was like, yo, look at my boy.
But yeah, you know, him and Brian have a lot of history too. So
right.
You know, so there's they could. What about
Hangman Page?
Somebody that we haven't seen on WWE in a while too. AJ Styles.
I wish they would give him permission to do one match.
You know, so. Who knows? But speaking about retirement, we had somebody retire something on AEW finally, and you and I have been talking about why is this even on TV? But it seems like they've been getting away from the ROH titles being shown, unless it's Mark Briscoe for some odd reason. But Hook, our guy Hook, man, he retired the FTW Championship after winning it, and he gave it to his father. What do you think is going to go on for Hook now? Now that he doesn't have the FTW Championship, now that he's not fighting for something, what's next? What's next for the young guy?
That's the problem, isn't it? Like, I don't want Hook to have the TNT title because Jack Perry's really good, even though that feud would be good. I don't want Hook to have the World Championship. Obviously, he's not ready for that. Hook and tag teams, I don't like. I always think it doesn't mesh well whenever he's in a tag team. So like the FTW title was something that was kind of keeping him afloat. I know we got like he's not beating Ospreay. You know what I'm saying? He's not beating Okada. So it's like it's one of those things where like, what are you gonna do, bro? It's like, I don't know. It's weird. I am glad he retired a belt that wasn't sanctioned or recognized by AEW, as they kept saying on TV, but was constantly promoting matches for. Because it gets him out of his father's shadow. I think for a long time, we've had this discussion that Hook is just Taz's son. You know what I mean? Like that was his character for a bit. He was in Team Taz. Everything he does is like his father is constantly babying him. I think this is the first step out of that. I'm not in your shadow no more kind of look. I don't want him to do a full character revamp, but something to stand out. You know what I mean? Just something small. Let him take out somebody important. Let him join the BCC. Let him, something small to just kind of bump him into these ranks. Let him take out Wheeler Yuta. He's too soft to be in the BCC. That's how I feel.
But you could also have things like, let's say he decided to target Okada, right? Okay, I'm coming for Okada in the Continental Championship. Yes, you're absolutely right. There in no world
does Hook put him to sleep.
In no world go over Okada, right? But there is a world where you can get a match that's never happened before, right? And you can say, oh, okay, now you can bring Samoa Joe back, and Samoa Joe telling Hook, like, dude, you're crazy. Like, this dude is top line. Like, he ran his promotion in his country for like a decade. Like you sure you want?
I can't beat him. You know what I mean?
Right,
Something like that.
I haven't even stepped into the ring with him. Let me do this. Let me see what it's all about. And if I can't do it, then maybe we need to do your training a little bit more. So then hopefully we can build up to like maybe a Hook Samoa Joe too. Something that, I feel like their first match we did, wasn't really something that
I enjoyed it.
It's something that I enjoyed it, but it could have been better.
Right.
It definitely could have been better. So we'll see. I love the fact that he retired the title, though. I love the fact that he looks like he's going to be going on to bigger and better things. Hopefully, it's not with the conglomeration.
Bro, it's gonna be Jinder Mahal. it's gonna happen, right? It's like I still think it's gonna happen, bro. Those 90 days are coming up. I'm pretty sure if they're not already up.
You can also go to like New Japan or something like that, Ring of Honor. You know what I mean?
He could do a G1 or something.
Yeah, start small, do something different. We had we had not a debut, because I'm not going to say he signed over to AEW, not just yet. Nothing's official. But he showed his face. You didn't get to watch it live. I'm sure you caught up on it. Mm-hmm. But MVP showed his face on AEW. Is this
cooked
a good idea?
Yeah, he cooked. He cooked, man.
He did cook.
So this is the thing I loved about this. Prince Nana was doing this, right? And at first I thought it was kind of...
You're good.
Like, Jesus. At first I thought it was kind of clunky. You know what I mean? So it was like, because he was out there, he was sponsoring his coffee. He was smiling like, bro, your guy just got obliterated. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, your dude was world champion, now he's not. But this guy's out here like, yeah, all we're good. Everything's all smile and dandy. And then like MVP comes out and like pretty much calls him out on that. Like, what are you doing here while your guys over? You're sponsoring your coffee, you're doing this. Yo, if he wants to be taken seriously, maybe he needs to like reconsider management. And I'm open for business. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's one of those things because it's like Swerve's never gonna betray Nana. That's his boy. Mm-hmm. But it's one of those things where like it's so predictable that I love it. Because it's like, oh, we're getting Shelton Benjamin and Bobby. You know what I mean? Like he's gonna be like, I don't need you, bro. I got real talent. And then we're gonna get those two. And then Swerve has no friends. Like, think about it. He has no friends, bro. No, he has a stalker.
He has a stalker. That's his friend, bro.
I don't know. Friend, I hope that's not the route to go.
The bar, bro.
I hope that like Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin aren't just whooping Swerve's ass, and then Hangman comes out and like clears house, and then he starts beating Swerve's ass, and like only me, like super obsessed with I have to be the one that beats you up.
It's gonna be like some crazy stuff. Watch, like both their mothers' name is Martha. It's gonna be something like that.
But this also did something where I don't think I get a lot of recently, and it was putting over a star without him even being there. This made Swerve feel so important that another manager came out here and pretty much said, your guy's not champion, but he should be, and you're the reason why he's not anymore. You know what I mean? Like this MVP went out of his way. There's a whole AEW roster, but he went out of his way to get Swerve. You know, and to me, that makes him feel important. Like Swerve is the guy. So I really like that. But yeah, I mean, Prince Nana got the coffee, bro. He ain't betraying him.
No, yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think this was a good move by AEW, just showing his face and showing that he's just coming out as a manager. He's not coming out as talent. He's not doing anything. He's looking for talent. Like, hey, tell your guy if he's done, I got you.
Right.
Or I got him. I should say I got him. So, yeah, definitely. I definitely think this was a good move by AEW doing this. So hopefully we can see more MVP. Hopefully, like you said, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin. Who knows what comes up out of this? So we'll see.
Before I move on from AEW, though, I just want to. Did you catch Bryan Danielson trying to choke Jon Moxley with the tie?
Yeah, that was hilarious,
bro. So I was like on Twitter after like rewatching that, and I was like, oh, and nobody understood the reference, and I was kind of upset that nobody understood that he choked out Justin Roberts with a tie and lost his job. Like, and I was telling Brendan about this the other day. I was like, bro, not even Justin Robert brings it up. Like they're in the same company. Not once has he brought up the fact that Bryan Danielson has choked him out with a tie. Like, well, that's all I wanted to bring up.
It's all good. Let's hey, but now everybody knows. You told everybody today, like, hey, guys, this is what really happened, bro.
Bryan Danielson was fired because he choked Justin Robertson out on the debut of the Nexus with a tie, and WWE said it was too brutal, so they fired him.
And then brought him back.
Because they realized, okay, you know what, we need him.
Oh, you are that good.
No more ties.
Let's move on. Let's move on to our main event question tonight.
It looks like all the talking has been done. It's time for the main event.
Main event question tonight: has Jey Uso solidified himself as a top singles competitor with his recent victory as Intercontinental Champion? Nate Rand, I know you don't like your boy. Tell me your thoughts.
I need to see where this goes, because I have a feeling that he's a transitional champion to boost the storyline within the bloodline. And if that's all they're doing, then I'm honestly, on paper, it's there, but I'm never going to count this. If he's not champion for 3 months, and I'm saying 3 months, I'm not going to count this, because I think he only has it so the bloodline can cost it. That way he goes back to Roman. You know what I mean? Like, they had to find something to take from him for him to come back. And I think this was the wrong way of doing it because, in my opinion, it hurts Braun. Braun has been a 2-time Intercontinental Champion. Neither time has been long. And how many times are you going to tell the story that Braun Breaker keeps underestimating these veterans who've been in the ring for 10 plus years? I think Jey Uso said the other day he's been in there for 14, so 10 plus years. And it's like, I get that, but like youth versus experience, eventually, like, experience comes from that. I don't want Braun to be a 6-time Intercontinental Champion and all his reigns are 2 months apart. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because who's going to beat Jey Uso if it's not Braun Breaker again? And if it's Braun Breaker again, what was the point? So you can boost the storyline? To me, that's lazy.
Got to boost those ratings, though.
Bro, so Jey Uso has to do 2 things for me to be like, all right, this is pretty good. 1, he needs to have a banger of a match with someone that's not Braun Breaker. And 2, he needs to hold it for 3 months. Because if this is just to lead up to him coming back into the bloodline, because they took it from him, and he didn't do anything with the title, then I'm sorry, this was pointless. And you're still a tag team guy to me. You're a pawn. You're a pawn in the game.
Sheesh. Pawn in the game.
This man!
I just did that because Chana and Brittany aren't in here. You know what, man? I don't know, dude. I think this definitely. I don't know. I feel like he's been solidified as a singles competitor since he's been doing the singles competitor stuff. But as a top singles competitor, for me, no. I don't think that this victory says that he could, shoot the shoot with some of the best that are in the game right now. I'm with you 100%. Like, why did Braun Breaker lose so early? If this was for him to maybe have a rematch at Bloodline in his hometown in Atlanta, Georgia, and he goes over in his hometown, what was the point? You know what I mean? You could have had this match and just had all his dogs barking at Atlanta, retaining his title.
Right.
If this is also, like you said, you got to boost the ratings, like you said, boost the ratings, boost whatever you need for the Bloodline storyline. If this is also just to put the title on Jay for the Bloodline and he doesn't defend this title because he's too busy doing Bloodline shenanigans, what was the point? So I agree with you. I don't think this makes him a top singles competitor. When we talk top singles competitor, I'm thinking guys like Randy Orton, Andrade, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn,
LA Knight.
LA Knight, right? These guys to me are top singles competitors.
And like we make this conversation all the time, is that there's just certain superstars, and I'm even going to throw my own hypocrisy in here and even say LA Knight's one of them, where you're so over, and you're so loved, you never need a strap. Like your character never needs it. And as much as I crap on Jey Uso, he's one of those characters. The fans are going to love Jey Uso whether he had the strap or not. I get it. It was a beautiful, moment. I didn't know it was going to be on free TV. Once again, shouts out to WWE for putting pay-per-view matches on free TV. That was cool. I got the text message and they were like, "Oh, you missed it." And I was like, "What? I didn't stay up for the main event again on Monday Night Raw." Oh man, that one bit me in the ass. You know what I mean? It's cool. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it. Like he's put the time in.
Mm-hmm.
But what's the point if this leads to nothing?
Right. No, I definitely agree with what's all this for if it's for nothing. I guess it's for something if it's for nothing. Who knows? But hey, that's all. That's all we got. We got 3 count trivia. All the ladies and gentlemen, ringsiders, we got all the teams.
We do.
Ready for 3 count trivia. We are gonna get ready to start getting episodes out. So pay attention to socials. Pay attention to the YouTube, because this table that we created that we will be releasing soon, so you guys can see the matches and who's facing up who has bye weeks. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be competitive. We're really excited. We're really hyped to do this. We got 2 new championship titles that we're giving away to a brand new team. Maybe if Championship Culture doesn't retain their titles, but we're really excited to do this. So Nate Ram, tell them everything that they need to know about 3 count trivia.
Everything people need to know is I'm gonna start releasing hints tomorrow. And I'll release a hint right now. I'm not gonna say which competition or which show needs to know this hint, but people should know Hall of Fames. This is WWE and TNA. You should know Hall of Fames and class inductees. That's a hint. And I mean, it's fun. We got a lot of new teams joining in this season, and I'm real excited about that because I made so many friends. It's how I got a great relationship with the mics. It's how I got a great relationship with Wrestling in the Middle, a great relationship with Championship Culture. I almost said 3 count trivia. Championship Culture, who's the 3 count trivia inaugural champions. I got, what I'm saying? Like, these are just people that I met through trivia, and we have these great relationships. And that's the thing I'm most excited about, because we got so many new people, and I'm so excited to work with these people and test them to their limits of this trivia. We did restructure it so it's easier to follow. And that's pretty much it. Marcus will be on the time and buzzer, and he's also the referee.
That's facts. And I'm going to be just like CM Punk. I'm going to call it right down the middle, which usually never happens with referees, through special guest referees. Never call it right down the middle. Always something happens. Maybe I might get knocked out by Randy Savage. He comes in and might
kicks you in the face.
It's you straight with a claymore. Hey, I think we're going to be doing a Saturday night hot tags on the Vince doc. So pay attention this weekend if we do that. If not, it might come out sometime next week as well. But hopefully, if you guys have watched the Vince doc, you enjoyed it. As far as I'm not going to do any spoilers if you haven't watched it, but it's pretty much everything you need to know about Vince McMahon. Everything that we knew about Vince McMahon just really got brought out to the light. They added a couple more things in there that truly showed his character and what kind of person he truly is. And I would say maybe the last 2 episodes are really like your most important stuff about what goes on, the allegations he had going on right now in his case and everything like that. So I thought the documentary was put well together. Have you watched it yet?
I'm on episode 2.
Okay, yeah. So did you enjoy episode 1?
I did. I'll keep my thoughts in case I'm on hot takes, but
okay,
it's certain documentaries need to be a certain way, and this one had to be a certain way, so I get it.
I feel that. I think I could already tell like where you're going with that. But hey, that's all we got. Ram, go ahead and get your plugs in while we get up out of here.
And of course, I'm the one that makes them say, "Oh, damn, I'm Nit Ram. I'm your host of 3 Count Trivia. I'm your host of Opinionated." And you can find me at Twitter at NITRAM_4SOTR. That's NITRAM_4SOTR.
You already know. Follow us on everything that we do, all our social media platforms. 4 Sides of the Ring podcast on Instagram, 4 Sides OTR on X. We're on Threads too, 4 Sides of the Ring podcast. Follow us on YouTube, 4 Sides of the Ring. Subscribe, share, comment, like. Help us out. We do all of this for you guys. But hey, other than that, you already know. You can find me at the Founder MH or the Marcus Hernandez, whichever one you want to find me. I am your host. I am with Nit Ram. This is 4 Sides of the Ring. You guys enjoy your